In this video, you're going to learn how to work on CPT or Curricular Practical Training as an F1 visa international student. And at the end of this video, I'm going to leave you with some best tips to follow to get the most out of CPT as an F1 student. Hey, it's Chuki here from SojourneringScholar.com, the trusted resource for international students and working professionals in the US. The CPT or Curricular Practical Training is one of several other employment options you have to work in the US as an F1 visa student. The other options are the Optional Practical Training or OPT and the STEM OPT that's only for students who've obtained certain degrees in science, technology, engineering, or math. Now, the CPT provides working options for F1 students to gain work experience before the completion of their studies. By definition, the CPT is for work experience that's integral to an F1 student's program of study. This work experience must be needed to complete your degree, and in the case that it's not required to complete your degree, then you should be able to obtain an academic course credit for participating in CPT. As a rule of thumb, participating in CPT must not slow down the time required to obtain your degree. Now, all non-immigrants in the US, including F1 visa students, are required to have a social security number in order to receive income and pay taxes while working in the US. I'll leave a link in the description section below where you can learn how to obtain your social security number as an F1 visa student. Some examples of CPT are summer internships and multi-semester co-op jobs. These jobs could be paid or unpaid and could also be performed on campus or off campus. One of the key benefits of participating in CPT as an F1 visa student is that it allows you to gain work experience in your field of study early on in your academic career. Another key benefit of participating in CPT as an F1 visa student is the opportunity to build a network of professionals outside of your school's community. And in the future, you can leverage this community of people when you're looking for full-time jobs. There are so many F1 visa students who participate in CPT, and through the process, in the future, they get referrals for full-time job offers even before the completion of their programs of study. Now let's talk about the eligibility requirements to participate in CPT. One of the key requirements to participate in CPT is that you must have been enrolled for 2 full semesters in an active F1 status. Now there are exceptions where an F1 visa student could participate in CPT before the completion of 2 full academic semesters. This is the case for F1 visa students who are enrolled in programs of study that require participation in CPT within the first academic year. Another requirement of the CPT is that you must have a job offer that's directly related to your program of study. Another requirement of the CPT is that you must be able to earn course credit during the semester that you're participating in CPT. Now, there are some exceptions depending on your university. Now, let's talk about the limitations of CPT. There are 2 ways you could participate in CPT. The first way is part-time CPT, defined as working less than 20 hours a week, and the second way is full-time CPT, defined as working more than 20 hours a week. Note that if you complete 12 months of full-time CPT, you become ineligible for Optional Practical Training, OPT. On the other hand, with part-time CPT, there are no restrictions, so you can work for as many months as you choose to without affecting your chances of pursuing OPT in the future. Another limitation of the CPT is that CPT is employer and date specific. This means that if there are any changes in your employer or if there are any changes to the length of time of your employment, you will need to notify your school's international office and receive a new CPT authorization. And finally, if you're taking a course while participating in CPT, you're required to pass the course, otherwise you will be violating your F1 status. So how do you go about applying for CPT? The process of applying for CPT is generally a 2-step process. In the first step, you would have to obtain an approval from your academic advisor endorsing you to participate in CPT. And in the second step, you would obtain a work authorization from your designated school official, DSO. Normally, you can get this approval from your academic advisor by showing an employment offer letter describing the nature of your job with your prospective CPT employer. This offer letter should show the start and end date of your employment and should also describe how many hours a week you're expected to work. Now, if your academic advisor agrees that your employment is integral to your program, or is an employment that you could receive course credit for, then you're going to be recommended for CPT. With this recommendation from your academic advisor, your designated school official will go ahead and prepare a Form I-20 that's endorsed for your participation in CPT. This endorsement for CPT on your Form I-20 gives you the legal work authorization to work temporarily with your CPT employer. Now let's talk about some best tips that can help you as an F1 visa student to secure an employment on CPT. The first tip is to start early. Now what you must know as an international student looking for a job in the US is that there are so many US employers out there who are not familiar with hiring international students, and there are also US employers who don't hire international students. So what this means for you is that your job search timeline for a CPT job might take longer than that of a domestic student. So when looking for a CPT job, it's best to start early to become familiar with your industry and understand what kind of jobs you should be applying for. The second tip is not to be over-reliant on online job applications. This is a big mistake a lot of international students make. What you should do instead is to seize the opportunity to attend career fairs on campus or career fairs organized virtually. By attending a career fair, you get the opportunity to talk with the recruiter one-on-one, and by so doing, the recruiter can understand your personality and understand your fit within the company, and this puts you in a much better position than someone who's just behind a computer screen applying to jobs online. The third tip I'd like to leave you with is not to pass up the opportunity to gain CPT work experience if you're not getting paid for it. At the end of the day, work experience in your field of study is work experience, whether you're paid for it or not paid for it. So if you're ever struggling finding a CPT job that pays you, what you should do instead is to look out for opportunities where you can work as an unpaid intern and get the training and exposure in your field of study. This work experience that you would have gained by working in an unpaid CPT job will turn out to be invaluable in the future when you're applying for full-time jobs or other CPT jobs. So as discussed in this video, you can see that the CPT is a golden opportunity for you to gain work experience as an F1 visa student. So do not pass that up. If you're an F1 visa student looking for a CPT job, let us know in the comment section below. I hope you found this video very informative. Please like and share it if you got some value out of it. And also make sure to subscribe to the channel for more helpful content coming your way. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one. But until then, be unbounded.